I didn't forget last time. Last time it just didn't do it. I don't know why. Or it recorded and then it didn't save it on my computer. But hopefully it does this time. But basically, what we saw and what I saw in La Quinta was so interesting. I had two different groups. Nobody really did bad. I had like one bad weigh-in. Okay, usually the first weigh-ins, I'll see maybe like I have to have like 4 or 5 conversations out of like 30, 40 people. And those conversations are kind of the slap of the wrist conversations. Like, what are you doing, dude? Like those kind of conversations. I didn't see that. We only had like one. However, I saw two different spectrums. I saw very, very good weigh-ins, and then I saw good weigh-ins, right? So I guess not two different ends of the spectrum, but that's what we saw. We saw people that were losing, kinda, and then we saw people that were really losing. And so what, one or two things, your body is getting adjusted, and a few of those people that just kind of lost a little bit, they re-weighed in today, and they're going to weigh in between today and Wednesday, and they're already starting to go down. But I know a few of those weigh-ins might be because we're not doing everything we could be doing. Not that you're not doing everything you're supposed to be doing, but you're not doing everything that you could be doing. Because there's things that you're supposed to do, but there's things that you could do to go over the top that are going to improve your results. Because with health and fitness, pretty much everything that you put in is what you're going to get out. Health and fitness is pretty easy and pretty simple that way, right? If you're eating well and you're exercising the way you're supposed to, you will get what you put in. But if you're not, you won't, right? When can we come in? If you didn't move on to phase 2, Nora, which you would know already, between now and Wednesday night. So the 10 to 11 a.m. or the 5 to 6 p.m. for La Quinta. I don't know if you go to a different one of the other locations, guys. I don't know what the weigh-ins are there. You'd have to reach out to your head coach, but they'd let you know. But now it's what we really have to do is kind of reset our mindset because, like I said, the more you do, the more you're going to get. And so what ends up happening, especially during this time, you have already a governor. We'll talk about this later, Nora. So you already have a governor in your mind that tells you, Dieta, you can only go this far, right? I know I got Coach Cody in my ear, but I can only do burpees for 57 seconds if he wants me to do it for 90 seconds, right? And I'm not saying that that's what you can do. I'm sure you can do a lot more. But you have that governor already in your mind. You can totally do more. But what that governor is going to do is stop you from getting to that point. And what ends up happening now during the time where the excitement of Fit in 42 and the excitement of meal prepping and the excitement of saying you're in Fit in 42 goes away and the excuses start coming in is that governor starts to get lower and lower and lower and lower, right? So instead of thinking, oh, I can prep my meals Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturdays, now you start thinking, oh my gosh, it's kind of hard. I think I can do Wednesday. Oh my gosh, that's kind of hard. I think I can, I'll go to a restaurant and I'll try to get something close to what I had, or I'll go through a drive-thru and I'll get a chicken sandwich, right? The governor starts to get lower and lower and lower because you start telling yourself this is my limit, and that limit starts to get smaller and smaller and smaller. So now it's to push that limit up and to get that governor back to where we had it and go a little bit further. Because that slight adjustment of that governor is going to push you to another level. So just like in your car, right? I just checked because I knew I was going to say this. On my way here, I just got home from the gym right now for finishing 6 p.m. And in my truck, my speedometer only goes to 120. Most cars, most vehicles can go past 120, right? However, the manufacturer will, because, there's irresponsible folk, like young men like myself, that would gladly go over 120 miles per hour, especially on the freeway. Or if there's an empty road, you might be like, hey, let's see what can happen. But that's dangerous, right? So the manufacturer will put a governor on it that only allows you to get to 120. And so that's what we do to ourselves. And then I'm totally biting this off of a David Goggins speech, but that governor and pushing that governor is going to allow you to get more, especially during Fit in 42, and especially when the excitement dies down. So now what we have to do is not rebuild a foundation, But go back to that foundation that we laid down a few weeks ago. So if you participated in the seminar the week prior to Fit in 42, the Monday prior to Fit in 42 beginning, actually, I think it was actually the first day of Fit in 42, we went into our goals. What do we want to accomplish in those 6 weeks? And we clearly laid it out. We literally got down to the point where we came up with an excuse that we would tell ourselves during that time. Because right now is when you start to hear those excuses that you knew you were going to say. And those excuses are usually like, my age, that person is better than me, that person is faster than me, I can't wake up early, I can't do this. All these things start to happen, right? And so those excuses start creeping in. So now we're going to go right back to that foundation. We're not going to rebuild it, but we're going to revisit it so we can get that same emotional connection that we had. Because that emotional connection is what's going to allow you to push that envelope, and push that covenant, and allow you to get that excitement back. Because you should have a foundation that is so solid that every time you think about why you're doing this, you should get that excitement back. And you should get excited, right? And always have that in the back of your mind. And there's how strong an emotional connection is, right? Have you ever heard there's a term called that people will say a saying. It says breakups create bodybuilders. Where usually you'll get somebody that they go through a tough relationship or a tough time, and all of a sudden they turn into Mr. Muscle Man because they just decide to push themselves and go crazy in the gym because that's how strong that emotional connection is. That's what we want to do, and that's what we want to establish. And it should get to the point, and that's why that person becomes so successful, right? With fitness, not, they go through traumatic experience like, I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to go at it. And it might not necessarily always be healthy for that person, but what I'm trying to get to is that person, it has such a strong emotional connection to why they want to get fit and what they want to do that every time they think about it, they get excited. And it's usually like, oh, my ex-boyfriend, girlfriend, I can't wait till they run into me at the movie theater. I can't wait till they run into me at the Applebee's. I don't know what it is. I don't know where anybody goes, but I can't wait for them to see me and I'm going to be all ripped up. And that emotional connection gets them so excited that boom, that drives them. And they get excited every time they think about it. That's what you have to get. And that's what you have to establish or reestablish if you've started to lose that. So if you did not join us for that seminar, what I want you to do is write down your goal and be very, very specific. Always be very, very specific. Clearly identify that goal. It's always as clear. And if you did it before, you can just write it down. Yeah, exactly, Steph. Clearly identify it. I want to lose weight. How much weight? Right? How much weight do you want to lose? You could even get down to a decimal. If you got down to a decimal, you're being so specific that now makes your foundation stronger. Right? I'm finding out that there are so many things that go into laying foundation in real life. We're in the middle of buying a house right now, and there's things that I want to do to the house that I already have my mindset on. And I have my mindset on that I can do it myself. I probably shouldn't do it myself. I'm not a handy person. That's why I'm a personal trainer. And I looked up how to lay down concrete. In my head, all you do is mix it and you just throw it on the ground and boom, concrete. Nope, that's not how you do it at all. If you were to do it like that, the foundation would be weak and that bad boy would crack in a day. The way you do it, you actually lay down a few layers. You put down some gravel. You put down some rebar, and then you wet it, and you have to stamp it down. There's so many steps, but that's exactly what we're going to go through so that your foundation is strong, so your foundation doesn't crack, which it might be right now. So you want to clearly identify that goal. And now this is a step, and we're going to go through a few other steps that we didn't go into last time because the last seminar that we did talking about these goals that you did with me, all I wanted to do was identify the goals, come up with excuses, and come up with your plan on how to get there. You have that. Fit in 42 is your way. You have that plan, right? But now what I want you to clearly identify is who are you doing this for? Who are you doing this for? In the back of your head, who do you think about? And that could be anybody. That could be your child. That could be your children. That could be your spouse, your mom, your dad. Who do you do this for? Do you do this for you? Because That's going to establish a stronger, exactly, Vanessa. That's going to establish a stronger emotional connection. Who do you do this for? Who looks up to you when you walk in, when you get home from work and you're tired and you had a long day, and there's pretty much no job where you don't work in customer service and you deal with tons and tons of people, or you have a rough, especially right now. Jobs are stressful right now. Times are stressful right now. It is not an easy time if you're still working to be working. But if you are and you're stressed and you come home and that little face looks at you and they say, Mama, Dada, whatever it is, and they come up, they give you a hug, that little person, that little face, that little face is going to be in the back of your mind. But that little face does is add on to your foundation. And that's another layer of your foundation. And now your foundation is strong. Because now what that does is make your emotional connection strong. And when you think of that little face, you get excited. Right? And so, like Vanessa brought up, my kids are my why. I know with Vanessa, probably, now Vanessa goes hard. She's a tough lady. If you saw her transformation on Facebook, she killed it. She killed it in just a short matter of time. Right? And I know when she probably thinks about her kids and what she's doing this for, which are her kids, she gets excited. And that governor doesn't go down. That governor is probably going forward. And she's probably done things this past year that she didn't think she was going to be doing for a long period of time, and if or ever. Because that emotional connection. So that's what you want to establish. Who for? Now, take a step further with those who's. It's kids. Why? Why for them? Why for you? Because then that's going to add on that next layer. This is why I want to do it. Because when I walk in and that little face looks at me, I want them to be happy. I want them to be proud of who they see. I want them to be like, I want them to grow up and be like, excuse my language, but my mom's a badass. My dad's a badass. Dude. Like, I remember when I would come home, or when we were kids, our parents would come home. Our parents would sit on the couch and watch TV or go take a nap immediately, right? And so I think about that as a parent. When I come home, I'm like, what am I doing? What, like, when this little face looks at me, what's my first step? What am I doing here? Why? Why am I doing this? Why do I walk in and why am I spending all my time away? Exactly. So you want to find that why. You create that extra layer. Why do you want that little face to look up at you and be proud of you? And now we get to the meat and the potatoes. And it's the how. And a lot of you guys have your how. A lot of you guys have that roadmap. Right now, you guys have meal plans that are very, very exact. And all you have to do is follow them. But there are always extra steps that you can take to be more and more successful with it. Right? The biggest thing and the best thing you could do for yourself is to stay consistent. Consistency is always key. Trust in the process is always key. So, there's a few hows. Now I'm going to go through this one. I didn't write these in order, but I'm going to go through this one first. And this is control your variables. And I talked about this before. And that's control, what are your variables? Think about what your variables are. Your sleep is a variable. Your food is a variable. Your supplements are a variable. Your workouts are a variable. What you do with your food is a variable. How much are you sleeping? Right? You have a newborn baby at home, it's 6 hours. The optimal amount of sleep for an athlete is 7 hours. 7 hours. I know, I laugh too, Vanessa. When you become a new parent, you become really good at sleeping like 2 hours. But the optimal amount of sleep for an athlete is about 7 hours. But you want to adjust, you just want to make sure you give your body rest because right now you're working hard. And the more you rest and you recover, and I'm not saying become a couch potato, but I'm just saying get some sleep. Make sure your body is able to recover. The more you're going to get out of the workout because that's the time that your body recovers. And it might even be taking a cat nap here and there, squeezing it in when you can, whatever it is, but getting your sleep because when your body sleeps, your body rests. And when your body rests, it can recover. It can recover and it can get better. And that's how you get those good weigh-ins. And now with your food, This is so simple. Right now you have measurements to follow. They're given to you. All you got to do is do them. But if you're not doing them, then you're not controlling a variable. And if you're not controlling a variable, you're leaving it up to chance. Remember, the more of these that you control, the more when you step on that scale, you can control that number that's on that scale. So if you're not weighing your food, or you're not eating all your food, or you're skipping meals, you're eyeballing it, and you're like, I know it says this, but I think I should do this. You're not controlling a variable anymore. You're not going to control the outcome, right? Now your supplements, that's such an easy one to do. And I know in La Quinta, like everybody is keep staying on top of their supplement game because I'm running out of everything in like days. You guys killing it. I'm very proud of everybody in Fit and 42 in La Quinta. Not and everybody doing Fit and 42. My La Quinta group, you guys are killing it with taking your supplements. But that's making sure your body has enough nutrients. That's controlling another variable. That's taking another step. Your workouts, everybody's killing it on the workouts. Like, and I know all you guys in here are because we were taking classes in other gyms this past week, and I saw a lot of your faces in those classes. You guys are destroying these workouts. You guys are doing so well in these workouts that you guys want to work out on Sunday. You guys are doing awesome. You guys can't get enough of it. You guys are doing amazing. But control those variables. If you're skipping workouts, you're not controlling a variable. You're not doing everything that you could be doing, so you're not going to be able to control the outcome. And the less variables you control, the less the outcome you're going to control. That's the way you always have to look at it, even when you're tired, even when these things pop up. Now, another thing I wanted to bring up is that regular effort produces regular results. Average effort produces average results. So dot the T's, cross the I's. Awesome. But if that's all you're doing and you're not finding ways that I can go above and beyond, let me just make sure that I can do everything in my power to move forward. Yeah, you're going to get good results, but you did average effort and you did just enough to get by. And just enough to get by gets you just enough results. Right? And now I'm going to use Steph as an example. I'm actually going to use Steph and Mike as an example, Mike Flores. Out of everybody in Fit and 42, and this is not shade to anybody else doing Fit and 42. Out of everybody in Fit and 42, these are two people that messaged me to make sure that what they were eating was correct. They didn't want to eat the wrong Ezekiel wrap. Now, most people would be like, oh, okay, that's annoying. That's like, why would I do that? That's a little bit extra. That's too much. It's just an Ezekiel wrap. But that's not average. What they did is not average. The average person would not be like, okay, I want to make sure this is okay. I want to make sure that this Ezekiel wrap is okay. And I want to make sure that my macros for the day are okay. And I want to make sure that this isn't a mistake. And because of that extra effort, they will get extra results. They will get extra results because they're doing more than just dotting the T's and crossing the I's. They're not just going through the motions. They're showing up and they're doing the best that they absolutely can so that they'll get the best that they absolutely can. So just going through the motions and just getting enough of a workout. And even when you're working out, right? And we'll see it when we see the screens, right? Or like today we did we had a little bit of extra time in La Quinta. So we did a finisher where you had to do as many repetitions as you can. And then you had to beat it. And then you had to beat that. And then you had to beat that. And then you had to beat that. But what happens, and when we had a workout like that in the past, you probably remember it, where you had to do as many reps of push-ups and as many reps of whatever. And then we went through the workout again, and now you got to beat it. And if you didn't beat it, you had laps outside, or you had burpees, whatever your coach is doing, right? And everybody hated it. And something that we saw, and something that I saw, and I purposely would cut the time down in half because of it, is that people would sandbag it. People would sandbag it because they knew they were going to have to beat it. So instead of doing 60 reps, they would do 40 reps because they could beat 40 reps. And instead of doing 70 reps, they would do 60 reps because they can get a 70 reps. And that was holding them back. And when you start to do stuff like that, instead of, actually giving it your all, that's average effort, and that's going to produce average results. So remember in the back of your mind, today you had Tabata. Could you have gone faster? Could you have done it better? How do you do it better? These are always things that you want to have when you're working with your coach. Are you giving it 100%? In your workouts, control that so you don't get those average results. If you're here right now, you're not an average person. The average person The average person right now is sitting down watching TV, watching Netflix, waiting for Netflix to shovel something into their face so that they can watch the next Tiger King. And I'm not saying that that's bad to watch Netflix, but they're just sitting down, they're doing nothing. It's been like 50 days that we're in quarantine, and these people are doing average things. But you guys aren't average, so don't act like you're average. Take it a step further. And now, my favorite one, and I was like, I had trouble when I wrote it. I was like, I don't know if I want to say something like this, but I do, because sometimes you do need to hear this. And you are not average, absolutely at all, Patty. When I wrote this down, I was like, this might be a little bit too harsh, but I know that the people that have done the best in Fit in 42 have been when we give them that good, solid little check, right? We're not mean about it, but we give you a little check. And what you have to remember, and everybody has heard it, you don't want to talk about it, you want to be about it. It is so easy to be like, oh, I'm working out. I'm working out during quarantine, dude. I'm being awesome. I'm doing it. I'm working out during quarantine. This is fine. I clock into my Zoom. This is fine. But you're not really walking the walk. You're just kind of talking the talk. You're just kind of getting by. Right? And so then when you weigh in, and you have people get phenomenal weigh-ins, and it's not always the case, but you have people get phenomenal weigh-ins, and you got an okay weigh-in, are you walking the walk, or are you just talking the talk? Right? And sometimes there's other circumstances that go in there, but most of the time there isn't. And so are you doing everything that you got to be doing? What could you do extra to get that extra? That's going to be that key, because it's so easy to say, oh, I'm doing Fit in 42. I'm on a meal plan. I'm working out. I have structure to me right now. But are you doing as good as you possibly can? What we had two people we have two people right now that are almost at 20 pounds, right? And they're bigger people, right? Taller, and they're going to have more body weight on them. And that's why they're losing so much, but they're giving it their all. And that's why they're getting numbers, right? And so they're doing that. And something that you always have to remember, those of you that have done Fit in 42, is that you have to be the hero of your own story. You have to be the hero of your own story. And that's something that we bring up in orientation all the time, right? Because you watch like a Denzel Washington movie. And Denzel Washington's walking away from the car, and the car explodes behind him. And he's totally cool. Well, if your life was a movie and you were the star, how would that star behave? How would that hero of that movie behave? Does the hero of that movie hop on Zoom, clock out of Zoom, and then let's turn on some Netflix, let's eat some Cheetos? Right? That's not going to get you anywhere. That's not going to get you where you want. That hero of that movie doesn't do that. That hero of that movie keeps on going and makes sure that everything that they got to be doing is done. Right? That Denzel Washington, he gets everything done. You have to be the hero of your story, and you have to get everything done. You have to walk that walk. You have to not just talk that talk. Because that's one of the easiest things you could ever do. Because what you'll see a lot of times, and you'll see it, and you'll see people that don't make as much progress as others. And sometimes those are the people that say the most about their progress, but they're not really making the most progress. So you have to just walk your walk, walk your walk, walk your walk, continue to move forward. Just be that hero of that story. And you have to create non-negotiables. You have to create non-negotiables. That's going to be huge. Your non-negotiables are what outside variables cannot control, because you do not allow the outside variables to control them. So that means you get a phone call from a buddy. Right now it's a little bit different. Right now you can't really go out to anywhere. But you're going to work out, and you're going to work out at 6 p.m. tonight. Buddy calls you up, 5:30 p.m. Hey, let's go out. No, I got to work out at 6. Why do you got to work out at 6? Oh, because this is what I do. No, you don't have to do that. Okay, I'm not going to do it. Let's go out. That was negotiable. If it was a non-negotiable, you're like, no, I got to work out. I'm going to do my workout. Sorry, dude, I'll hang out with you later. Because that's a non-negotiable. Think about what's non-negotiable in your life. And you have to create those non-negotiables. So right now, whatever your fitness goals may be, whatever your goals are, you have to create non-negotiables for you to get there. What time are you going to work out? That's a non-negotiable. You got to do whatever it takes to get that time in. You got to get your 5 workouts a week in, right? Whatever it may be. Sometimes what some would struggle with is work, and we have this need, and I do it myself too. Or someone calls and like, hey, yeah, I love that, Tanita. Sometimes we'll get a call from work, and we're like, hey, so and so called out. I need you to come in. I got to get my workout in. I got to get my food done. I got to do this. They're non-negotiable. A friend calls. That's non-negotiable. You got to stick to your non-negotiables, whatever it is. Get your non-negotiables in, and then you have to stick to those being non-negotiable. Because that's going to be the biggest key. Because the second that those stop being negotiable and you're staying consistent with them, that's when you start making the progress. Every single time. Every single time. And that's why, again, going back to I love Fit in 42 orientation. I love the 10 Commandments. It's one of my favorite things to go into with people. Because you have to be a little bit selfish at times. Because you have to take care of yourself. Making it a routine, exactly. Your routine is non-negotiable. All the time. That's exactly what you want to focus on. So for those of you that didn't do that last seminar, the very first goal setting seminar that we went into where we came up with excuses, the formula that you want to follow that we did, it was a very basic formula to create the plan. Use the SMART goals method. Be specific, be measurable, be achievable. Exactly. It's a second career. You'll be achievable, be realistic, be time sensitive. So make a goal, put an end date on it, and make it something that you can achieve in that end date. And don't be easy on yourself. Don't be easy on yourself with it. And don't be easy on yourself when you fail. Right? It's okay to fail, but you don't always just want to make it okay to fail. You can, and it will happen. But if you go into something like Fit in 42 with the mindset that I'm going to fail, you're going to fail. 9 times out of 10 you'll fail because you go into that mindset with it. Let me see here. It's like a second career. Yeah, it is like a second career. It absolutely is like a second. Like your job is non-negotiable. Right? You work your 8 to 5. Somebody invites you, and let's go back 3 months because right now it's kind of weird. But you work your 8 to 5 and somebody invites you to Disneyland. If you're a responsible person, you're like, no, I got to go to work. That's not negotiable. I got to pay bills, man. Disneyland's not going to pay my bills. That's not negotiable. And that's exactly how you have to look at your workouts, your eating. Those are your non-negotiables and set those in stone. 29% body fat by June 1st. It's about to go down. That is awesome, Vanessa. That is awesome. Do you know exactly how many pounds that breaks down into? Divide your body fat pounds by your actual body weight pounds, and then you'll be able to actually figure out the math on how many pounds you would have to lose to get to what body weight and how many. Yeah, there you go. That simple, that easy. Hi. Here, come here. This is the face that I'm talking about. When these little faces look at you, and they say mamas, they say dadas. That's what she says. She calls me dadas, plural. That's why. Oh, you want to stay? Anyway. Divide body weight into what. So what you want to do, basically what you want to do, and it's a simple formula. Basically what you want to do, the way you figure out your body fat percentage, you divide your body fat pounds of body fat you have, into your actual body weight. So let's say you weigh 170 pounds and you have 26 pounds of body fat. Be like 15%. And so that's how you do, that's how you would figure out the math. When it comes to percentage of you losing actual percentage, it's your body fat percentage, body fat pounds divided by body weight pounds. It's a dream. It's not a dream. It's totally attainable. Whenever I hear that, actually, Vanessa, if you know Gail, what just happened? I love when I'm using my MacBook and I accidentally click something on my dashboard, an app that I didn't even know I had, like numbers, and it just pops up and it's like, hey, remember me? But it is, yeah, it's absolutely doable. If you know Gail, Gail's like super ripped now. She's running Ironmans and she has all these medals from running races. Gail used to work at Nothing Bundt Cakes. That is such a silly name. But she used to work at a bakery and she was like 30% body fat. She's like 12% body fat now. That was like in like 2 or 3 years. Like it's totally doable. It is totally doable. And it's only doable if you tell yourself that this is doable. Because the moment that you tell yourself it's not, it's not. But right now, what you guys need to do is just really, digest what we talked about today. Digest what we talked about today and conform it to you. And what I want you to do is come at it with a positive mind. Everything that we talked about, every rule that we went to, the walking the walk, the controlling the variables, having the Mamba mentality. What's the goal? Why do you want to do it? Who do you want to do it for? You have to figure these things out. But when you start to figure these things out, don't go at it with the mindset that, okay, this was good, but this wasn't good, but this was good, but this wasn't good. I guess this works for me. You're not grocery shopping here, right? Apply it. Apply it. Digest it. Figure out how you can apply it and apply it. And then that way you can start to roll out your plan. And that way, whenever you come back and you think about your why and you think about your goal, it's going to excite you. And you're going to get that beginning of Fit in 42 excitement again. And that beginning of Fit in 42 excitement is going to keep you rolling forward. It's going to keep you rolling forward, and that's what you want to keep doing. And just remember, if you had, and I'm just going to address this. I'm almost done here, guys, too. But I just want to address it. Because if you had a weigh-in that you didn't like for Fit in 42, if you have already weighed in, but you've been looking and you're like, I'm not necessarily where I want to be, well, what can you do to change that? What can you do to change that? Don't dwell on it, because that's not going to do much. But what is in your control, and what variables can I grab right now? What variables can I think of that I can change? What can I do to push the governor? What can I do to change and go above and beyond so that I get above and beyond results? Because average isn't cutting it. So that's what you have to do every single time. So if you didn't get a weigh-in that you didn't like, if you got a weigh-in that you didn't like, what can you do to change that? What can you do to change that? Rather than playing the blame game, what can you do to change that? Because you totally can. You always can. Now, does anybody have any questions, any comments, anything like that? I love opening it up to questions. Questions lead to discussion. Discussion leads to answers. Answers it helps people that normally would be too shy to ask and to bring something up or to make comments. If not, that's okay too. You guys are awesome. So, if you have moved on, let me see. I am having a hard time digesting 2 scoops of protein at the time. What I would do is cut that down. Then, Christina, what's your screen go? Oh, there you go. Cut it down to 1 for right now. Just cut it down to 1. You'll be okay. That 1 scoop is gonna throw you off. Awesome, guys. Well, get that emotional connection back, guys. Get that revamp. Get that jump start. Really sit down, digest it, sit down, and apply it. And then the next time we meet, which will at least be next Monday, right? I want to see you in different headspace. And I want to hear what you've done and how you've applied it and how you've moved forward and how your next weigh-in went. Crush those next weigh. Change that. Well, all right, guys. There's no more questions. You guys are awesome. Make sure you get your pictures for your coach. Everybody from La Quinta that's in here, I know that you're in here. I've seen you. You guys are good. Oh, anytime. Fire is there. I'm so excited about where we are going. Yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you for joining me. All right. Well, give me a virtual fist bump. Thank you for joining me. I love doing these on Monday. I just love having these conversations with you guys and having this time with everybody, being able to talk to people from the other facilities and Texas. All right, guys. Let's end this with a huddle. Get your protein, get your water, and on to let's go fit in 42. Ready? Let's go. 1, 2, fit in 42.
42.
See you later, guys. You guys are awesome.
David.
Bye, Tiara.
Bye. Thank you, David.
Go
Bye.
to bed. It's late.
I know. Go to sleep. Get that sleep in. Control that variable.
Patricia.
Mr.
Bye,
Sean.
ladies.
Hit the button there.
What button?
Bye, Vanessa. I love you.
Put it down, Mom. You can see.
Bye, Mommy. I love you.
Good more.
Hi, baby.
She's precious. She's so precious, David.
Hi, baby.
She has her mom's smile and her dad's mouth. I can talk a lot.
So cute.
All right, say bye-bye. All right, have a nice night, guys. You guys are awesome.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye, baby.